what are the similarities and the differences between a task-based assessment and traditional assessments? Is the way that Arctic Shores does its task-based assessment so fundamentally different from question-based assessments that it means that people have to get their mind around a completely different style and approach and personality framework? Or actually there's some overlap, but there's also some differences? Perhaps you could share your perspective on that.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to put it. I mean, I don't think it's like so wildly different in terms of the framework that sits underneath. I mean, we're still, adhering to, we still believe like what the rest of the research community believes around, personality factors and models, and we're using all of that best practice research as well. So the fundamentals of what we're doing and what we're trying to measure, and we're not saying that we're measuring, anything that's wildly different from what a traditional psychometric provider would measure in terms of what's important in the world of work, from a behavioural or a soft skills perspective, or behaviours associated with personality and cognition. So that's similar. The fact that you can use our assessment in an early stage SIFT to support with a number of different challenges, that's similar. But I would say that that's where the similarities end, actually. So, yeah. I've racked my brain, Robert, and those are the similarities.
No, fair enough.
In terms of differences, the main differences are it's task-based, it's dynamic, it's engaging, so that brings lots of advantages. Increasing advantages nowadays as well, which we can talk about in a moment, with the advancements of generative AI. But the advantages that brings for employers it's dynamic, it's engaging. We've got evidence to show that it reduces anxiety for candidates. It's not timed. So therefore, the candidate experience is optimised. They get a candidate feedback report within 30 seconds of completing the assessment. So again, candidate experience is optimised. Diversity, we do a lot of work on diversity, and I know that's one of the reasons you and SAFE founded the business in the first place, to level the playing field across all demographics. So we do a lot of work around adverse impact and, running our profiles through models before we actually go live with customers. And a lot of work on our platform with regards to that as well, that we've just talked about around reasonable adjustments and the design of the assessment. So we're levelling the playing field, so employers will be able to achieve their diversity statistics, which we've seen with the likes of Siemens, and why Amazon is interested in working with us now, because they want to make sure things are fair and get the same number of females and males to the end stage of their processes. They want a diverse mix of individuals that they can appoint to roles.
And I'd like just to talk a little bit about that, because at the end of the day, what makes a good selection tool is whether you are first putting forward better suited candidates to hiring managers to select from, and then ultimately do they perform in the job better than either the previous process or just randomly bringing people in. Can you perhaps share then how a task-based assessment has brought about some improvements or differences with some of the clients that you've worked with over the years?
So you make a good point around predictability. That was going to be my third one. You want to be able to identify the candidates at an early stage that are very closely matched in terms of matching your success criteria that's going to help them perform in the job. And then you want to be able to make sure they do perform in the job. And is there a correlation? Is there a link there? So we do a lot of work around that, around the predictive analytics there. And I think that's like hugely important. So I would say that that's something that a task-based assessment allows you to do, because you're gathering that directly observable evidence. We talked about the 12,000 data points that we get per candidate. We've got huge volumes of data there per candidate that we can then use with our customers. We can either use data that we already have that exists to show them and demonstrate to them, look at the predictive nature. If we run this success profile through this model that we've already got, look at the outcome that's given other customers in similar sectors to you. And then we also do that when they're onboarded with us, as part of their ongoing sort of customer journey as well. So we look at their points of value and we demonstrate that to them as they're on that hopefully continuous journey with Arctic Shores.
So they they get that predictability.
They do.
And that's really important. Jill, one of the other points, just picking up on something that you said earlier, was 12,000 data points. It's a huge amount of data there. And one of the things that people will be concerned about is that, gosh, there's this huge amount of data. Does that make it really complex and difficult as to how hiring managers or organizations are able to use then that data to help them find who are the right candidates to be talking to and hiring?
So the short answer is no, it doesn't. It's very simple, and that's also one of the sort of founding principles of Arctic Shores, was to try and bring psychometrics to the masses, make it understandable, user-friendly, free from jargon, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to join UNSAFE in the first place, because I think it's really important that if we have these tools, everybody should be able to use them and get insights from them, and it should be across society. So it's very simple with our platform. Within sort of 3 to 4 sessions, which can vary from 30 minutes to 60 minutes each, depending on what customers want to achieve, we can onboard them, and that's their training and how to use our platform, how to set up their assessments, how to invite their candidates, and how to interpret their reports, because we've designed everything to be as simple and as jargon-free as possible. In terms of the outputs that customers receive, we've talked about the candidate report, so candidates get that. Customers can view on their dashboards on the platform, ranking in terms of if they want to sift their candidates, who's coming out as top from an overall score on their success criteria. It's also broken down across the areas that are important for them. So we talk about sort of essential criteria for the job, so very clear scores in that respect. And they also get reports for their hiring managers and their TA teams, which give a lot of insights into the individual candidates' strengths and development areas. And then last but not least, if they want to use it, they've also got an interview guide as well. So we try and make it as simple and as user-friendly as possible, and as easy to get up and running and start using the products in the first place.
Yes, absolutely.